Hi everyone, it's Bethany, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can make the Cricut Joy card designs on your Cricut Maker. So if you don't have the Cricut Joy yet, but you are just loving all the cute little designs that they are releasing for the Cricut Joy, there is a way that you can still create those designs with your Maker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two different cards for you today. One is just going to be a cut, and then the other card will be using the pen. So I will show you two different ways to do it, and one way that is a little bit easier for me, but I wanted to show you two ways just in case another way was easier for you, because everybody kind of crafts different, but it's nice to have some options. So we're going to hop into Cricut Design Space, but what you're going to need, you'll need some cards. So you can use the pre-made Cricut cards. I love them. I think they are amazing. I actually just placed an order for 2 additional packs yesterday, and I can't wait for them to come. So you can use those. This little powder blue one is from the Sensei sampler pack. It's beautiful. And then you're going to need well, we're going to do another card too. I just cut this one. This was some pre-folded cards from Michaels, and I just cut them down to size for the Cricut Joy. And then you're going to need some inserts. So you can either use the inserts that come with the Cricut Joy, or you can cut them down to size. On the front of the Cricut Joy card pack, it will tell you all of the information about what the card sizes are and what the insert sizes are. Okay, so what you're going to do is, let's do 2 different kinds, and for the first one, we are going to do just the cut. So we're going to do this little white one first. Let me move this one over here. Other things you're going to need are, you potentially need a little spatula tool. I find this really helpful if your mat is really sticky, so it helps bring the card off the mat without curling it. And then a little weeding tool may come in handy if you have some pieces that are sticking to the mat. But you guys will see me do all of that in just a moment. So let's do this first. The first way that you can do this, let me bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so the first way you do this is you are going to place your card about 1/8 of an inch from the top and 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. So you're just going to kind of go to the corner and then pull it down just a little bit. So you're going to just place it there and then really lay it down. Okay, and then you have your crease right in the middle here. Again, these are pre-folded cards. Okay, so now let's hop into Cricut Design Space, and we will get this first one all cut and put on the mat in the canvas.
Okay, so one thing that I found really helpful is if you are trying to find Cricut Joy card that you really like, when you are in a profile of either a Maker or an Explorer, the Cricut Joy cards don't come up because they are not compatible with those machines. So what you can do is you can go to the Cricut Joy category up here. You can just select that as your machine, and then you can search for them and then star them as your favorite. Then once you have starred which ones are your favorite, you can go and switch your machine profile to whatever machine you're using. So I'm going to be using my Maker, and then they still will show up in your favorites and you can use them. So I'm not sure if anyone else is having difficulties with that, but if you are, that's a little workaround. Just add them in your favorites in the Joy profile and then go to the Maker profile and locate your favorites, and they'll still be in there. Okay, so we are going to be doing a couple different cards. I thought it would be really fun to do some cards for our essential workers, just to show them that we really appreciate all of their hard work to help keep us all going and keep us all healthy. So we are going to be doing this card first, and then we will do this card second. But look at all the beautiful ones. They are so pretty. And there's even more. These are just my favorites. There's even more in the creative cards section of Design Space. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and once it pops up, we're just going to select Make It. So now it's going to bypass the Make It or the canvas, and it's going to go straight to the Make It scene. So what you can do is I am going to click on this right here. Now remember, we are making our card right up here, and we put our card just between, you know, the end of the mat and the beginning of the card. So this is about placed at 1/4 of an inch, so we placed our card at 1/8 of an inch, so our card is running right down here. That's why I wanted to show you the card put on the mat first, so you can kind of visually see once we get in here. So now what we need to do is we need to flip this around, because if we cut it like this, it's going to cut on the back of the card. So we are going to grab this little toggle, and we're going to click Shift on our Mac, and we are just going to toggle that around. Now you can do it without clicking shift, but shift just allows you to move things in an angled increment so that it makes sure that you just have a little easier of a time getting it all lined up again. So again, this is right butted up against as far as you can go to the left and to the top, and then we have our card placed down there. So now what we're going to do is we are going to click continue. Okay, so now that it has located our Bluetooth, we're just going to browse all materials, and we're going to come down here to cardstock and select cardstock for intricate cuts. Then I'm going to click done, and then we are going to click or load our mat into our machine and then let it cut.
Okay, so I'm just going to put my mat into the machine, and again, I'm just 1/8 of an inch from the top and 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. I'm going to click the double arrows that are flashing. That's allowing me to load my mat, and then I'm going to go ahead and click this little flashing Cricut button when it's all ready to go, and then that is going to go ahead and cut. Okay, so this is just finishing up the cuts. It looks really pretty. I love this design. I love all of the Joy card designs. They're doing such a beautiful job. So I'm going to unload my mat. And so if you have a mat that is super sticky and brand new, then you may want to grab your little spatula tool. This comes in the basic tool set, so it's really, really handy and nice. So I'm just going to kind of bend my mat to get a little corner up, and then I am going to put my little spatula between the card and the mat and just lightly peel up. And this just helps to prevent any curling. It just helps to bring that card up off of that mat, and I find it's really effective. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull that off of the mat. So it's coming off perfectly, and now we have our card. How cute is that? And that cut setting is perfect. So now we can go ahead and put our insert in. So when you are cleaning these, I'll show you a quick way in just a second to get all of the remaining pieces off. So all of the pieces came off. If you have any stragglers that didn't come off, you can just grab your little weeding tool and poke through and then grab them from the back. I recommend poking through and grabbing them from the back because if some of them tear, you're tearing the back and not the front of your card. But just be really careful and you shouldn't have any tearing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my card and I'm going to grab a little insert piece. And then I'm just going to place them. This is double-sided paper. That's why you see a little pattern on the back. I'm just going to place it right into the little corners. Okay. And the card is done. How cute is that? So pretty. I love them. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to clean our mat and get our second card cut just a tad differently. Okay, so I love using the little Cricut scraper tool to lightly scrape my mat. This is just a really quick way to get the little pieces off your mat so you can make another card. And I snuck this in, so if I do sneak any little materials into the tutorial, then always check out that description box below my video, and you will see everything that I've used to bring this look together today. Okay, so once I've done that, I can just quickly grab these little pieces and swipe them off of my workspace. Okay, so here's the second way, and pardon my mat, it is a little bit dirty, but it is just about ready to be retired, and I kind of feel that card making is, at least for me, with the card making, it's kind of nice to have a mat that is just about ready to be done, so it just kind of helps everything peel off a little bit easier. Okay, so this second one, what I'm going to do is I am going to come down 1 inch, come over 1 inch, and I am going to line it directly on the 1 inch line. And this is an easy way if you just want to line up your card on lines instead of just guessing with the 1/8 of an inch or bringing a little tape measure out. So here is just another way. I find this kind of helpful. Okay, so I have that all lined up. So again, come down 1 inch, come over 1 inch, and then you can use that 1 inch line coming down and 1 inch line going over to line up your card. Okay, now we can go into Design Space and I'll show you how you can get that placed on your mat to cut.
Okay, so again, we're just back in our favorite screen with our maker selected, and we are going to come over to this thank you cross card. I love this, it's so pretty. And I'm going to click it. I'm going to say make it. And then again, it's going to bypass our canvas and go right to the Make It screen. And now what we're going to do is, again, we are going to grab our keyboard and select the Shift button and hold it down, grab this little toggle, and we're going to turn it all the way around. Okay, now remember, we have our card lined up at the 1 inch mark. So if that's easier for you, then you can come down here and then you can just bring it just a hair, you know, essentially 1/8 of an inch like last time. You are just going to bring it down just a little bit so that you have room from the edge of your card to where the beginning of the design begins. So this is another way if you just find it easier to line up your card perfectly on the mat and then you want to just manually drag your design in the canvas. I want to show you 2 different ways because some people like to do it the first way, but sometimes I find it easier to do it the second way because my card I know is just lined up perfectly. Either way, you kind of have to play a little guessing game. So whether you play the guessing game by placing your card on the mat or play the guessing game in here by kind of simply dragging it just a tad off of the 1 inch mark, there's always a little bit of room for you know, just a little guessing element. So it just depends on how you like to do it, but I wanted to offer both ways up just in case, you know, a way is a little bit easier for you. Okay, so again, it's locating my joy, and now we are going to be using the pen. So it's going to show us how to load our machine. Okay, so again, I'm just browsing all materials, going down to cardstocks for intricate cuts and selecting that, clicking done. And then what we're going to do is we are going to load our pen. It says red pen, but you can use whichever one you like. You're going to load your pen in clamp A, clamp B will be the fine point blade, and then we can load our mat.
Okay, so I am using the color Jade. It's the 0.4 tip, so that's the one I'm going to be using. I'm not going to share this too much because I have something coming with this, but I did invest in these markers or these pens, this pen set, and they're so fun and so pretty. I'll link them below. So one advantage of using your maker right now to use the Joy cards is that if you are doing a design that has pens on them, you have a lot more options for colors because the Joy does not have a ton of pens right now. So I would say that if you are doing a card that has a lot of colors and you have a maker and you have a Joy and you're trying to decide which one to use, then go for the maker because then you have a little bit of fun options with colors if you have the pen set. But anyway, so this again is the Jade. I'm just going to take the cap off, put it on the top so I don't lose it. I'm going to open this little A clamp here. I'm going to place the pen in and just give a little bit of a push, and then it'll click in there. Close the clamp, and then again my blade is already loaded from last time. It's always loaded. And then I'm going to go ahead and load my machine. Again, we're doing the 1 inch by 1 inch test run here, and then we're going to do the arrow buttons and then the Cricut button. So now it's going to go through with the pen and do all of the writing features first, and then once it's done, it will automatically switch over to the B clamp and the cutting will begin. So unlike the Joy where you have to take out the pen and replace it with the blade, the Maker has the double clamps, so it's already has all of your tools loaded right there. So now it's done with the pen, and what it's doing is it's just locating the blade and getting it all ready. And now it's going to start the cutting portion. Okay, so it's all finished cutting. Now it's just going to unload our mat, and then we can click the arrow buttons to unload. Okay, and now what we'll do is we can again use our little spatula and we can bend the mat so a little corner peeks up. And this is going to be a super easy one to pull up off the mat. So on this one, it looks like it did get a tad close to the bottom edge here. So you'll see in a second, but it didn't cut through. So we're still going to be able to put our little one through. But if you see, it got a little close there. So I want to mention that because I will be honest and tell you that when preparing for this tutorial, I cut probably 10 cards or in my opinion, 3 million cards. I was working on this for hours to try to figure out the best position. And here's the thing. I feel like you finally figure out the best position. You either figure out the 1/8 of an inch or you do the other one, and then you make a card perfectly and you finally figure out how to position it on the mat or how to get it arranged in design space. And then you try it on a different card and it's completely different. So I kind of feel like all of the card designs are just a hair off, because I'll finally get it perfect on one design on my mat, and then I'll go to try something different and it is completely off. So if that's happening to you, just know that I feel like that is super normal, because I've done a lot of testing and it seems like it's not completely consistent. So just wanted to give you that little takeaway that you can, there's going to be a lot of trial and error, because the Joy has it flawlessly done. It has the card mat, it's perfect. But when you're doing these on the machine that, that it's not made for, you can still do it, but there's a lot of trial and error and guessing. So just want to let you guys know that, and prepare you for that. If you're getting a little close to the edge, it's normal. You might have to make some adjustments. Okay, so now opening up my card, I'm going to place my little design in here. Oop. Okay. I love a pattern paper behind these cards. I think it's so pretty. Okay, so then we can close it and then we have a really pretty card. So nice. I love it. Okay, so let me go ahead and clear my little space here, and then I will share a couple more things that I had as a takeaway for using the Maker with the Joy cards. Okay, so here are the 2 cards we made. They are so fun. Again, if you find that you're getting too close to the edge on any of them, you might just need to tweak your method a little bit, but they turn out and they are doable on the Maker. So here's my takeaway. I have the Joy as well. So for me, I am going to be using the Joy for my card making because they just have it perfectly done. The card mat's perfect. You get the cut in the right spot every time. There's no guesswork. However, I would definitely use the Maker myself. Having both machines, I would opt to use the Maker for joy making if I wanted to do a fun design with multiple colors for pens, because right now the pens have a lot more options when you are working with the Maker. The Joy doesn't have a ton of color options at this point. I'm sure they're going to come out with some because, it's only been out a couple months, so I'm sure they're just kind of getting a feel for the market. In my opinion, I don't know, but I'm sure that in the future they'll come out with more. But in the meantime, if you are doing a design that has a lot of colors and you want something other than the colors that they offer for the Joy pens, then totally opt for using your Maker. So this was fun. It's doable. There's a little bit of guesswork, but you can do it. And I'm glad that I showed you a couple different ways just in case you like to do it one way or another. So the 1-inch way that I did, it got a little bit closer to the edge, but I'll tell you, if I would have done a different card on this, it would have done it perfectly. So I do feel there's a little slight variation in the cards. I don't know if it's just me, but I think that once you kind of get your technique perfected, sometimes it kind of moves itself around and then you're kind of back to that little guessing work. But I guess it keeps crafting fun, right? All right, everyone, if you found this helpful and you enjoyed these little cards, then please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Let me know how you guys are doing. Make sure you guys make some of these cards. I think this is a wonderful way for us to give back while we're being safe at home. You could give these to your mailman. You could give these to your delivery people that come with all your Amazon boxes. I don't know about you, but I think I need to add my Amazon guy to my Christmas card list because he's here daily sometimes. So you can do that. You could hand it to your grocery clerk at the store who's checking out your groceries. All of these essential workers that are helping keep us going and keeping us safe. That's wonderful. And then these medical ones, you could, if you have an appointment coming up, you can hand one to, your doctor, your nurse, the people in the front office, just all those people who are taking this brave step to keep us safe. I think this is a wonderful idea. So go ahead and browse all those cards. There's a ton of beautiful thank you cards and medical related cards. So definitely go check those out. They are so pretty. And let me know how you guys are doing. How are you doing? What are you crafting? And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. All right, everyone, I will see you all in the next tutorial, and I hope you guys all stay safe and healthy.